Hey everybody, it's Brother Keith here, the author of The Prepper and the Preacher, a spiritual survival guide. We're talking about the canning and the dangers of canning. There are some dangers and some things you need to look out for when you're canning your own food, i.e. using mason jars. This is a way that a lot of preppers, as well as people into self-sufficiency, they store food for long periods of time. In my right hand, you can see we have some veggies right here, some peppers. This has been stored for years. And by looking at it, on all accounts, taking a look on the outside, everything looks fine. But in my left hand, we've got some peaches that's been stored for some years. And I'm telling you, there is something forming in there. And the problem is this wasn't canned properly. And these are the dangers when you don't can your food correctly for long-term food storage. You can get all kinds of stuff growing on the inside. That doesn't even look like peaches on the top. It's something else, that a life form of its own. And I think the only thing that's good for it is probably making penicillin. So I would highly suggest not to eat it. So you got to be really careful when you're canning your own goods and making your own stuff for the future, because if the grid is down, you may not have the opportunity to get your stomach pumped. All right? Now, let's talk about commercial canning. Commercial canning is pretty cool. There's a lot of places that specialize in making some really good products when they're canning it. So there's actually some products you can get from the store that can last pretty long. But sometimes, you know, due to shoddy workmanship or, I don't know, bad quality control, you get some issues like this. This particular can, notice the bulging. This can only expired in 2012, and it's bulging. Look at that. Bottom and top bulging. This is ridiculous. This was passion fruit drink, and I love passion fruit drink. But guess what? In a grid down situation, I'm not going to drink this. This can poison somebody. So do not eat it. All right? You may want to take a look at also for dents on some of these cans. You may have something in there. Now, dents are different. If it's a big dent, I'm definitely not going to touch it. If it's a little tiny dent, I might take a look. If I'm really desperate and there's no food to eat, I might go ahead and pray over it and try to eat it. As long as the can's not bulging like this guy. All right? But a dent, you know, I don't recommend it, because you can still get some kind of illness depending on how bad the dent is and if the food is affected. You always want to still smell and look at the food whatever canned good you're dealing with. That's never going to change, no matter if it's a mason jar or a can. You always want to smell and taste it to know for sure. Check this out. This particular can has rust. You see where my finger is? There's rust growing on this can. Now here's something here. Suppose you open the can, but there's no rust on the inside of the can. If there's no rust on the inside of the can, then more than likely that can is still good. In a grid down situation, I would still try to eat it. Okay? But if there's rust on the inside of the can, you visibly see the same rust I'm showing you here. If you see it on the inside of the can, then don't eat it. I would not even touch it if I see rust on the interior of the can. Okay? And then this right here is something I wanted to show all my folks out there. This particular can, if you can see that date, look where my finger's pointing, 4/1/1464. That stands for April 14th, 1963. Excuse me, 63. 4/14/63. It stands for April 14th, 1963. This can is in excellent shape. Notice there's no rust, there's no dents. I'm hiding the manufacturer with my finger. This guy is in great shape. If this is a grid down situation, I'm going to eat this use the can. I'm going to eat the food out of this can before I eat the one out of the rusted guy. And I'm definitely going to eat this one from 1963 before I eat something out of a bulging can. Okay? Because you're guaranteed to get sick. This one looks like, by all accounts, it's in great shape. It's been stored well. It's been in an environment where the temperature was really good. There's no rust on the can. There's no dents. There's no bulging. It's just from 1963. And we're in 2016. So that's just to show you that there are some cans and canned goods, and this actually goes for mason jars too. There are some of them that can last a long time and would really be nice to have for your food storage for the future. So I just want to give a little bit of advice so everybody out there can make some good decisions in the future, especially when the grid goes down. I want you all to be prepared. This is Brother Keith. God bless you, and see you soon.